All right, welcome to the Luna Impacts podcast where we talk about self improvement, entrepreneurship, and fitness. So today we actually have a special guest. We have Katie or Kati. How you doing, Kati?
Hi, Johnny. I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me here.
Of course, of course. So I'm just gonna give a little background about what you've been doing for the past couple of years. So you're to me you will always be like you'll always be someone who's helped me out. You mentored me for just a few months, but it was really good. Like I've learned a lot from you, so I'm grateful for that. But do
Thanks.
you want to tell the people a little bit more about your story, what you've been doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a mindset coach. I've been working for the best in the world, in my opinion, Bob Proctor, and I've been working in his company for the past around 4 years. And I think that, my story starts with, like everyone probably can relate with that, me feeling lost, feeling not knowing what was good for me or what I was going to do with my life. I think for the longest time I felt sorry about myself and about my life, how it was going, because I think you're 21 years old, Johnny.
Yeah, I turned 22 this year, but
Okay,
yeah.
okay. But like I made big decisions around your age. When I was 21 years old, I decided to move from Peru. I'm originally from Peru, and I decided to move from Peru to Canada, in a country where I didn't know anybody. I had no friends, no family. Even my English was not that great, and I was just graduated from university, and I came like to just explore and see what I could do.
Yeah.
I started working on a coffee shop, and as a barista, and I had to give up a lot of things in my own country. In Peru, I had a entire home for myself that my parents built for me and my sister. Um, I had friends, I had good job opportunities, but I didn't want any of that. I wanted something more and better, and I knew that I didn't want to be average. I always knew that I wanted more and better. So that's why I decided, you know what, I'm going to start doing something on my own. And I came to Toronto and, started living in a small little bachelor apartment, uh, like, and building my own things on my own. And, years later, I found myself again lost, again, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. I was a single mom at that time, and I knew that I could do a lot better. I knew that I could be better, but I just
Yeah.
didn't know what else to do. What something was missing. I knew that, but I didn't know what it was. So in 2018, I started changing my associations. Like I started doing a little bit of network marketing, and I came across with somebody who gave me Think and Grow Rich. And for me, it was like, what is this? And it was like I was reading Chinese, because even at the beginning, I couldn't get it. I was not in.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't into personal growth or personal development at all. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I think I saw The Secret when I was 18, but it didn't really. Probably I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of like it getting along with those people, hanging out with those people, and then I met more people that were into personal development, and then um, there was an event called Paradigm Shift in LA that Bob was going to speak there, and I just flew to LA because I knew, like, if I learned this, when I first listened to Bob, and I thought, here's the answers, like this is what I need. If I learn this, my life is going to change.
Mm.
And I thought I was going to learn it in 3 days when I went to LA, but it really opened up my mind to think that I can get what I want,
Mhm.
and that I can think bigger, and that I never even thought that, like, the first hour of the event, Bob was talking, what do you want? And I was like, oh man, I don't even know what I want, because I was doing a 9 to 5 job. I was like more like a mom, but never thought about what I wanted. Never asked myself, can I actually get what I want? Can I
Hmm.
actually do that? So when Bob said that, it really struck me, that a question that I kept asking myself, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And the last day of that seminar, the last hour, it was just like a download. Like it was something that really strong, that it came like, I want to work with them. I want to be one of his coaches. I want to help people. I want to teach this. I like, my heart was starting, opening up, but then my intellectual mind was like, how are you going to do it? You don't have the
Yeah.
money. You don't have this. You don't have that. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And one thing that I would remember forever is like Bob said, only 3% of all of you who are in this room are going to make it.
Hmm.
And I promised myself that I was going to be part of the 3%. And I did it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's that's crazy because a lot of people, it's for me it's like such a it's a big process. Like it's a real process of growth. Like at any time that you want to change or you make a big massive decision, there's always going to be a process of you becoming a better and new person. You know, so that's crazy to hear your story. And honestly, like what I want to talk about is more about your how you flew from Peru, went to Canada. Like, what is your desire really? Like, what do you feel like was that thing inside of you that was just like, I really want this? Because I see it. I can literally see the energy coming from the phone, and I can feel it. But that's the thing that I'm curious about, and I'm sure a lot of people are too.
Yeah, no, because I think like I'm a living proof of what like this material teaches, what is in Think and Grow Rich. And I had this burning desire, once I heard from my mentor that your goals are the children of your soul,
Mm.
and you got to take care of those things, and your goal is something that you train your life for. And so I was willing to trade my life and everything that I had, the comfort of living uh on like the expenses of my parents, my friends, my circle, everything. I was willing to trade everything because I wanted something better.
Yeah.
And I look back and I see the 21-year-old version of me. Oh my God, I'm so proud of her. Like, I'm so proud of her. Like she had guts. Like she was bold. She was brave. And she was fearless too. Because
Mm.
even though like I do remember facing fear, but I was more thinking on like, I want to live this experience. I really want to live the experience of like growing and doing better. So a lot of times, it's funny because I look back on my friends. For the longest time they say, Kati, you're so lucky. You're so lucky because things are working out for you. Like look at where you're at and like everything that you're doing. And I had to put myself on the hook, and I had to go to this invisible place, this unknown place, a lot of times to be where I am. I had to get out of my comfort zone a lot and get used to
Mhm.
getting out of my comfort zone a lot. So that's why I said I think for the longest time I did it very unconsciously. I had no idea what I was doing, but if you really think about it, I was betting on me. I was betting on me. I was betting on me and betting on my desire. And for the longest time, I didn't think about how I'm going to do it. Will I find a job? What about my English? Like I could think about all of that. But when you have strong desire, the how just is presented to you. So that's
Mm.
exactly how I did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We actually have a couple of questions here.
Mhm.
What got you? So you said that you flew from you flew to the event, the paradigm shift event in LA,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you recall like what was like the mental process for you? Like I have to go to this seminar. Like what do you feel like transpired that?
Um, for me, it was that I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like
Mm.
I knew that I couldn't. I couldn't afford to live that life. Like I was not existing. I was not living. I was existing.
Mm,
And I remember like my mom would come to visit me here and there, and she was like, Kati, you have so much potential. Like you're wasting it.
mm,
And I knew that too. Like I knew that. Like inside of me, I knew that. But I just couldn't find the answer. So when I found Bob and when I found personal development, like I cling on it with all of my heart, with all I could. Like I would study, I will eat, I will listen, I would do everything. I've tried everything, like everything that you can think of. Like Bob would say, you know, if he would say, like the sky is green, I believed him. Like I would do exactly. I never questioned what they were telling me. Like they
mm,
said, do this, I'll do it. They
yeah.
they said like, get up at 5, I'll do it. Like I never questioned what they were telling me. I was willing to do the doing because I knew that my way wasn't working. So I had to
Mm,
find a better way. But I think to go to LA, it was just like I was like the satisfaction is a good thing. A lot of people they don't like to be dissatisfied or they don't like to be on a place where they are stuck or they are suffering.
yeah.
If they already have the mindset to turn things around, they can use that to create good things. But we can use the satisfaction in our favor if we have the right mindset and the right tools to build on top of that. I don't know anybody who has created a great thing who hasn't been dissatisfied. Like it's the satisfaction is a good start point for
Mm,
the creation of a better version of you. But a lot of people they had bad relationship with the satisfaction that they keep creating more dissatisfaction in their lives, and it's a cycle that they get into that their life completely is that. But if you really use that to create, you can build things on top of that. Like every time that I've been dissatisfied, I've created something bigger and greater. So
mm,
for me it was like I just thought, and one thing about me is that I'm very intuitive too. So I connected a lot of times, like my mom, people around me, like it doesn't make sense. You're wasting money. You're wasting your time. Like, what is this? Like it didn't have to make sense for me. It makes sense in the head. It connected in my heart, and in my heart, I believed that I could do more and better. And that's not it. Like LA was the small, like that was the probably 10% of my growth. Then I came to Toronto and I had to invest in myself. I had to work with a coach. I had to work with somebody who knew more and better because those 3 days, what it did for me, it created an emotional impact. It created like this kind of, oh my God, it's possible. But if I would have stayed there, my paradigm would have taken over
mm,
and I would have gone back to what I was.
yeah.
But because my desire was strong, I came to Toronto and I said, well, yeah, I know, I understand now. This is what I want. I'm not getting the results that I want to have right now. But what can I do now moving forward? What can I do now to keep getting better? So then I had to work with a coach. I had to work with somebody who knew more than me, who could help me, who already done it what I wanted to do. And I had to invest, to go to the seminar. Probably I thought that I put all my savings there. And then I had to invest in myself, like in a program like the same one that you're doing. And I was like, oh my God, like how I'm gonna do it. I'm a
Yeah.
mom, I'm a single parent, I have to provide for my son. Like how on earth I'm gonna do it? And I felt very responsible even to think that I could do that, but
Yeah.
I just did it anyways. Like I went again into the invisible. So, and that was again me betting on me and be willing to do whatever it takes, not only what was convenient. People stop when until the point that it's convenient for them. Okay, I can do this. This is convenient. But they don't do whatever it takes. They don't do that extra that all of us we have it, but
Yeah.
we don't do it when it gets a little bit more uncomfortable that what we could take, they stop And
Yeah.
guess what happens there? They go backwards, right?
Question. Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you feel like is the reason? Like, why do you feel like people they stop when it's convenient?
Because it's their paradigm. They are scared. They have fear. They face
Mm.
the terror barrier, what do we call it? Like, oh
Yeah.
my god, what is going to happen? So they get into the paradigm creeps in. The paradigm, every time someone feels fear, doubt, or worry, is the paradigm. So the paradigm does not want you to get out of your comfort zone. It doesn't
Mhm.
want you to keep growing and expanding. It doesn't want change. So every time you feel fear, doubt, or worry, you're being attacked by the paradigm. So if the paradigm, the desire is not greater than the paradigm is going to take over and then you're going to go backwards. So
Yeah.
that's why even in Think and Grow Rich, when we think about and we talk about decisions, you have 30 seconds to make a decision.
Yeah.
People forget, I got to think about it. Oh, like, let me process that. Let me go and I'll like, that's BS. Sorry for my
Yeah.
language.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
but but that's the paradigm keeping in. You don't need any of that. Like, you can feel it in your heart in that moment, and if you act upon those ideas, that's your guidance system. Like, we gotta act upon those things when we feel this strong pulling to do something. We gotta do it because that's our guidance system. So people
Mm.
stop because they intellectualize and see, what if this happened? What if this not doesn't work? What if this? What if that? What if that? And every time you think what if down, in life you don't get what you want. You get what you
Yeah.
expect. So if people go into something with plan B, they are expecting that it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Um, I was just teaching to my clients yesterday, and I was telling them, about getting serious now more than ever. Like, if you're not 100% in, if you are 99% in, you're 100% out. Like, you gotta be 100% in. Like, you
Mhm.
know that you know that you know that you're gonna make it work, and that it is gonna work, and you're gonna get what you want. But if you think, well, if it doesn't work, if it doesn't happen, if it, like, you're out, like, it's not gonna
Yeah.
work, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's like a lot of there's a lot, especially if we look at what the masses, how the masses think, and how we kind of grow up to think. It's like how we hear money doesn't grow on trees,
Yeah.
or like our parents or grandparents tell us like, okay, like when we were kids, we say we want this, and then they tell us like, what, how are you gonna get it? And it's like that's what you're saying. The paradigm is like it's developed since we were kids, and we kind of grow into it. So with someone that let's say we have a theoretical situation, because I've been in this situation before, and I know like it could be really scary to make big decisions, and you don't know how it's gonna go, like you're saying. So what do you feel like is, because listening to your heart is really good, but how do we shut down those thoughts? How do we navigate or follow our feelings, even though our present results may feel like it's gonna stop us?
Hmm. You know, uh, your heart's desire, like, when you have a strong pull and a strong desire, you're gonna feel it. It's a feeling. You are
Mm,
not gonna know intellectually, but you're gonna feel, right? So the all those talks, all the chatter in your head, it's gonna come. But I think, like, if you understand what it is and you say, okay, this is my paradigm, it's trying to stop me, and I'm not gonna listen to this because this is trying to stop me. So understanding what is going on within yourself, then you're going to be able to consciously say, I'm not going to go there. I'm absolutely not believing this. I'm going to go after what I want. But it really, it's about you getting to know you too. Like, I told you when we first spoke, I said, like, a lot of people, they don't know themselves and they don't know what's going on
mm,
when they face all of these things. So they say, like, oh my God, I have fear, and so I should stop, and then I'm not going to do what I thought or what I wanted to do, right? So they
yeah.
they don't know themselves. They don't know their process. We all have fears. Like, I have fears all the time. Like, I face fears all the time, but fear, just gives you feedback. Fear is only telling you that where you're about to go is unknown because you've never done it before. So of course you're going to have fear. Of course it's going to be, something, oh my god, like a little bit of anxiety. It's actually a good thing because you're getting out of your comfort zone. But what is your relationship with fear? Fear stops you or fear moves you? It depends how you know you and how you what is your relationship with that. So for me, fear, it only tells me, like, I see it now as a feedback that, okay, where I'm about to go now, it's new, I don't know it, but I feel like I have to do this. Like, it feels right. It feels like it's something that I should be doing. It
Mm,
feels right. Like, you're gonna know by the feeling. Like, it feels right. And
yeah.
all of those is just like, as you learn to know you, and as you learn to ask yourself questions and understand what is going on, then you're going to be able to say, you know what, I'm just going to laugh at this. This is silly. I'm not going to listen to this voice, and I'm just going to do
Yeah.
what I need to do.
I still remember when you told me that. You told me, like, because I had to ask you once. I was like, what do you do when you have like certain circumstances or you have bad days? And you just told me just like laugh at it to
Yeah.
like have a good attitude. And I seriously have been doing it. Like every time I catch myself feeling bad, I just laugh. I just laugh. It,
And you don't take it personal, right? Like, you don't think, oh my god, like this is going on, because in our heads we make it bigger than what it is,
mm-hmm.
right? So when you just laugh at it, you see it from the fun place, and you say, you know what, it's interesting, eh? You know, that's it. I'm just gonna laugh at this and move on. Like, what can I do now? Right?
Yeah,
Like, what can I do now? And I see the good. Like, what can I learn from this? Like,
yeah,
what can I learn from this? And just move on, right?
yeah,
So I want everyone to understand this, because the five senses are going to be the last ones experiencing our goal. So a lot of times we live from our five senses. I look at my results, I look how everything is, I look how things are right now, and it's not where I want it to be, it's not working, so I should let the results to control me. And people let the results control themselves, so they keep creating this cycle of, I don't like my results, I keep doing the same things, and I keep creating more of the results that I don't want, and I keep getting frustrated. But, you know, our five senses and our paradigms are always going to stop us, and are going to tell us, like, that we should be looking at that, and the things that are going to slow us down. But when you close your eyes and you see your goal, you see that you're experiencing your goal, and you see what you're creating, and you see how fun it is, and you see that is exists in spirit. So you just gotta hold with your will that vision. And a lot of times I tell myself, I don't believe this. Like, I don't believe, when I look at my results and I don't like them, I say I don't believe it. Like, I don't believe what my five senses are telling me. I don't believe it. I want to believe what I want. And what I want is the truth,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I talk myself out of the negative feeling a lot of times, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah, I feel like that's crucial. You have to you have to like have some positive self talk. You have to feed the vision in your mind. So
Exactly.
I actually have a question. So with desire, what do you feel like? How does desire shape our actions and our decision making?
I mean, it's everything. Everything starts with a strong desire. Like, I told you yesterday, like, I just need somebody with an inch of desire to get better, to be able
Yeah,
to work with them.
yeah,
Because if you have an inch of desire, we can build on top of that. But there is something that you cannot teach, and I cannot teach to people, is having desire. If they
yeah,
want to conform, and if they want to stay stuck, and they don't have the desire to get better,
yeah,
then it's hard to work with them. Even if they don't have the money, if they have desire, they're gonna, with that desire, you can, like, one thing that my mentor told me is build my belief. I know you can do it. I borrow his belief that I knew I could do it. And then even the money, the resources, the people, all of that came to me.
Yeah.
But, but, you know, like if you have an inch of desire, we can help you with that. And we can help you to build that belief, that desire up, up, up. But if desire is something that you cannot really teach, and desire is the start point of everything, like you
Yeah.
have to have a desire to get better, to go, because that's also in our spiritual DNA. We want expansion or greater expression. Like
Yeah.
this started for us as kids. Like I see my son, like I see him, when he runs, he wants to run fast, he wants to run faster. When he jumps, he wants to jump higher, he wants to do everything that he does better. And they are kids,
Mm.
right? So so it is on their DNA, but a lot of people are so disconnected from themselves that they started losing themselves, because they want to please somebody else, or because they are afraid to be judged, or because whatever reason. And then they get into, well, this is my life, this is what I got, and I cannot change it. So they are hopeless.
Mm. So what's your advice to someone who feels like they don't have that much desire, or they don't have desire? How do you feel like, what's your advice to that person out there that doesn't feel like they have that much motivation?
Understand that they are created on an image of God, that they have all the power within themselves to create. We are creators, and we create our life, and we create our destiny, and we create, our future. We get to create. Listen to my word. We get to. But we become what we think about all day long. We become what we think about. Our thoughts become things. So if right now somebody is hopeless, somebody is like, not having a strong desire, is because they are having a wrong thinking. They are thinking, they live in loserville. They live in, oh my God, I'm the victim. Oh my God, poor me. Oh my God, poor this. And I've been there. Like I know that because I've been there. So I played the victim for the longest time. Like, and I played the poor me for the longest time too.
Mm.
But I know that if they listen to their heart and they go into like a quiet moment, they will know that that's not who they are, and
Yeah.
that there is this small, like, light, or a little light that they can really go into, and that start thinking, well, what if I can get better? What if my life can get better? What if I can do what I can do, what I wanted to do? What if I can find my purpose? Like,
Yeah.
I want everyone to understand, and this is not motivation, really. This is science that
Mm.
tells all of us, every single one of us, is the best in the world at something. But you know what happens? Most of us, we don't know what we're good at, what we're the best in the world at. And a lot of people are dying without even knowing. I think what brought us up to here, it's probably we can put it on our paradigms, on our parents, on our how we've been raised. But once you listen to this and you understand this, it's our duty to change it. It's our
Mm.
duty to say, you know what? Now I take responsibility of my life. I take ownership, and now I decide to change that, and I decide to get better. So
Mm.
so but it's a certain attitude that, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Great, this is a good moment for you to start.
Yeah.
But you gotta, you know start really thinking what is good about you. Like, I'll tell you one thing that completely changed even before the seminar. Like, I had a really bad attitude. Like, I would complain about things, I will play victim, I'll do all of that. And I remember once I told myself, why am I complaining? Like, why am I so negative? And I started doing, like, at night, feeling gratitude about what was good. I unconsciously started to think what's good in my life. What's good in my life. And that was the starting point where everything changed. So if somebody's
Mm,
watching at this and they just can't do gratitude, they start looking for what is good, they're gonna start looking and they're gonna see how the transformation is gonna happen so fast. For me, once I change it to see the cup not half empty but half full, it's when my life, I started attracting all of these good things, all of these good
mhm,
things, people, like, opportunities, all of these good things. But I started there, starting to what's good in my life.
mm. You mentioned something a couple of times before, and I meant to ask you. That's crazy though. Like that's a perspective I never really thought of, and I feel like that would help a lot of people. Shifting their
Yeah.
perspective. So in terms of paradigms, because I feel like that's really all it is. It's like just our thinking pattern.
Hmm.
How we're thinking, and then that just sets our body in that vibration. So what do you feel like for someone that wants to make a huge, massive quantum leap, and they want to shift their paradigm? How would you start? Like, how would you help coach them with that?
Well, um if they are already working with me, it's a process, but they need to find a coach, like, or somebody, not necessarily be me, but somebody who's doing what they want to do and who's having the results that they want to have. A lot of times we want to listen to our parents or friends, but are they where you want to be? Are they having the results that you want to have? Are they proving, like, like what you want that they have it? So you gotta be careful who you're listening to, because for the longest time I listened to my friends, I listened to my parents, and they were not where I wanted to be. So they gotta have somebody who's gonna guide them and who
Mm,
they are, and they can teach them by experience what, like, like what they need to learn. Number one, that's it. Number two is they need to have a goal, like starts and ends with a goal. Like they need to have a goal. What is the star that you're shooting for? Then you don't focus on the goal will give you direction. You detach from the goal, and then you become who is the person achieving the goal. Who is that? Who is the version of that person at the end of the goal? Like self-image, identity. It's so essential. It's so key. And then processes. Like, what are the right processes? Are you having the right habits? Are you having the right um rituals that are going to help you to get where you want to go? You're not going to get where you want to go doing the same things you're doing now. That's impossible. So you got to change certain processes, and you change certain processes, it's going to change your thinking and how you go about things. But you know and I think another thing that I will add there is study yourself. Like, I had clients that tell me I've been studying for 5 years, or five hours a day, and I'm like, no, study 30 minutes, 40 minutes max, like an hour, okay, with all the rituals and everything. But then study you all day long. Like, that's what I want you guys to do. And like, a lot of people, we were talking about getting to know you, getting to know ourselves. How do you get to know somebody else? By asking them questions,
mhm.
right? So how do you can get to know you? By asking yourself questions, but asking from a very neutral place, not from being critical or judging yourself or getting mad at you, but as if you're so neutral and you're coming from, like, outside of your body, and you ask yourself, did I act like the person I want to become today? No. Okay. Well, I can get better at that. Did I have the identity? Did I have the self image? You ask yourself questions like, why am I thinking like that? Why am I
Yeah.
thinking this thought? Right. And then you're going to go to the core of when that thought first started. And then, a lot of times I was telling this story yesterday to this group. Like, when I was 6 years old, I was bullied,
Mm,
and I started to believe that I wasn't good enough. So
mm,
my self esteem was poor growing up, um I even had eating disorders. Like, it was crazy. And like, years later, when I started working on that, I didn't feel that I was deserving. I wasn't good enough. And I was asking myself this question, like, when did that started? When did I start feeling that I wasn't good enough? When did that all pattern started? And I went to the core that started by my friends when I was 6 years old, and I'm still, like, a 30-year-old version of me believing on a what a 6-year-old kids were telling me. Like, how silly is that?
Yeah.
Right? And then I just, like, the shift happened in a minute. I'm like, that's silly. Like, how can I still believe that?
Hmm.
Right? But it's something that I grew when I believe as I was growing up,
Yeah.
right? And I just repeated that pattern. But if I went to the core and started there, I can just say, you know what? Poor little Kati, she didn't know any better. And she didn't have like, probably enough confidence to talk to her parents to help validate that she was feeling sad about those things. Okay. But now I have me, and I can go there and tell her, you know what? Don't listen to that. It's not true. You're worthy, you're deserving, and you're going to have the best life. So, but we got to go to the core on what everything started. So then we can shift that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, that's 100%. It's something that I've been doing. Actually, I just recently had done that. Like, just started really looking deep into my childhood, and it made sense on a lot of the belief systems. So, in terms of what you said before, you said the five things basically to help shift your paradigm. Now, what do you feel like is the process for your mind or your programming to start to change, or how does it feel? Like, how does one know if it's like it's starting to become, you're starting to change your programming?
Starts with your. I think for me, the first thing I was gonna say are results, because it's
Yeah.
obvious when you change the paradigm, your results are gonna change. Like, if you're doing this for, let's say, 6 months already, and you don't see any changes, it's because you're not doing it right. You're intellectualizing it. So it's you need to see what are your gaps there. There are some gaps that we need to work on. But it but I'll say that it becomes, you start becoming that person. Like, you're starting feeling like good about you. You're not fighting yourself about, like, oh my god, I gotta wake up early, and you're fighting to, oh my god, I don't want to wake up, I don't want to wake up. So it's becoming part of your new programming, part of your new paradigm. For me, for example, like, I I I started reading, when I first started working on this. And for me, reading, I will read at 5 p.m. I didn't have a schedule. I will read whenever I had time. And at the end, it was the worst. Like, I would fall asleep. I was not enjoying it. I was forcing myself to do it. But then I changed that. I will study first thing in the morning. And I actually
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed it. Now, I wake up every morning, it's just automatic. I go to get my book and read it. Like, it became automatic. It's easier not to do it than to do it.
Yeah.
So, so that's when you notice that it's your paradigm is shifting, your programming is changing, because things become easier not to do it than to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy because I feel like that's all people really need is just like the constant repetition.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that. Like, how important is repetition
Oh
for
my god.
shifting your paradigm?
It's crucial. It's crucial. Like, how do we learn how to walk? Like, I was looking at, I call my sister. My sister has a 1 year old, and her
Yeah.
daughter is learning how to walk. Right? She
Yeah.
didn't learn the first time. She's not even walking yet. Right? But how kids learn? How do we learn when we're kids? We fall down, we cry, we get up, and we try it again. We try it again. We try it again. We try it again. And she's trying to walk all day long every time for a week now, and she's not even walking yet, but
Yeah.
she's repeating that same practice the same movements every day. Like, how do you learn how to speak? By listening constantly. Like, when your mom says, say mama, you learn to say mama right away, or you say, like, it's a
Your
repetition
mom.
of the mother
Yeah,
of all
yeah.
learning. So sometimes we forget and we say, you know what? Like, we think we're too smart now when we grow up and we already know the basis. And then we say, okay, I read a book and now I got it. Or I watched this video, now I got it. Like, no, like, I don't read a book, I study a book. Like, this year I only read two books and I stick on one most of the time because,
What's that book?
pardon.
What's the book called?
Return of Love. I have it here on my desk, like, by Marianne Williamson.
Oh wow.
And it's a very spiritual book, but I don't read things, I study,
Yeah.
because I want to grasp the concept and I want to understand it on a deeper level, right? So it doesn't matter like how long it's going to take you. It's not a marathon. It's not about who finishes. Like, when I see advertising in Instagram or social media, I read 30 books in a whole year, I'm like, that's stupid. Like, that's silly. Like,
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I
just
really agree. Like, I really think so, and I feel like it could be a tedious thing in the beginning, like studying the same thing over and over again. I think it's the law of familiarity. When you read something, it kind of becomes like it's kind of boring.
mhm.
But I've literally been listening to the program on repeat, repeat, repeat to the point where I know when certain parts are gonna come. So I
Yeah.
know repetition. Like, yeah, for sure.
And remember this. Like, I remember my mentor saying, you don't know this, you know about it. Like,
Mm,
you don't know, you don't. I spoke with people that say that, you know what, Kati, I've been studying this material for 10 years. And I say, like, tell me your results. Well, no, they haven't changed yet. Nothing has changed. And I'm like, well, let me tell you this. I've been studying this for 3 years consciously, or 4 years, and look where I am. Multiple six figures, seven figures. Like, you're doing something wrong,
yeah.
right? If you're not getting the results. So I said, you don't know this, you know about it,
Mm,
because you're not getting the results that you want. So like, that's when I tell them, especially to those people, to be more coachable, because they think they are smart and they think that they know it, and they don't know anything, really.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you study the same thing over and over again, do you feel like, because I know from doing it, there's certain times where you understand something you read before, but like after the 30th time or 60th time reading it, you start to really grasp it. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I sent you the audio on attitude, did I?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was listening to it before too. Yeah, yeah. From the magic
That
word.
audio I've been listening for probably now 2 years and a half, on repeat. Like, there are months when I go on vacation or I have like a time off for a month or so, but I always go back to that. Always go
Mm,
back to that. And it's funny because last week I got something that I didn't get in 2 years and a half, that I've been listening, because your your level, according to your level of awareness, you're gonna get things. So when your level of awareness is, let's say, small, you're gonna get what it's up to the level of your awareness. But as the time goes by and you keep expanding and growing, you're going to listen to the same thing, and probably you're going to have a breakthrough or something too much different, or a different impact years later, because if you keep working on your level of awareness has expanded, and you say, oh my God, how I couldn't get this years ago, or how I couldn't understand this years ago, because you weren't aware enough. Like, Bob used to say, if you're going to gain something, gain understanding, and understanding goes with level of awareness. So the more aware you are, the more understanding you're going to have, and that the more you're going to grasp concepts that are deeper for you to understand. So what the repetition does is expands your level of awareness, expands your mind, and then you're going to be able to grab some things that probably last year you didn't get it. Like, if you think about you, Johnny, last year, if I would have given you Think and Grow Rich, you would not get it as you get it now,
Yeah.
right? And a year from now, you're not going to get it as you get it now because you're expanding your level of awareness through the repetition and the studying of it. So
Mhm.
that's what you got to do. And that's why it's so important to keep repeating and keep expanding our level of awareness. Make sense?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for someone, let's say someone who has been studying for a long time, and they still, for some reason, they can't get the results. Like it's like really hard for them,
Hmm.
or like maybe they're just like they're not at where they want to be. What is your advice to that person?
Get a coach, get a mindset coach, get a mentor, because they cannot see their own blind spots. They only can see what they can see.
Mm,
But if they don't have somebody to guide them, somebody to tell them, what are their blind spots, they're gonna keep doing the same things and keep creating the same results, and their results are not gonna change. So I don't know if you when we talk, every time we talk.
I was about to say something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what's crazy? You're the one who told me like one time we got on a call and you're like, because I was listening to the attitude from Earl Nightingale, and then we got on the phone and I was was it I was late, or I had asked to reschedule. You had told me, you're like, attitude is not just like how do you feel. It's you have an attitude toward everything, toward this phone call. You said that, and then once you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. So it's like you definitely gave me awareness on the blind spots, and then you even told me to like be more, on time with my stuff, be more organized with the calendar. Since then, calendar made it. Like I've been on it, So it's like, yeah, for sure,
and
definitely
and
get a
and
coach.
the beauty of you is that you're young, so your subconscious mind is still open.
Mm,
So you're not playing, no, I want to be right. You're
yeah,
playing like I'm open,
yeah,
right? So that's why I know ever since you changed it right away. Like I haven't had anything with you after that. But
yeah,
why you implemented what I told you, but if I wouldn't tell you that, you didn't see it because you weren't aware. But then when somebody tells you that and it resonates with you, you say, oh my God, like you see, this is not a professional that I want to be. This is not the man that is at the end of my goal. Right. And then you
yeah,
fix that. So those are little things that compound over time and compounded that we do that are eaten that are either like holding us back or growing us like every day all day long. Whatever is that we do or we don't do are increasing or decreasing our self-image. So if we, let's say, don't show up at a call at the time or show up later, like we're decreasing our self-image, right? If you like say to yourself, I'm going to work out, and you don't do it, you're decreasing your self-image. Little things like that are doing but are compounded like throughout the day that are making us feel like, oh my God, I'm not good enough, or I am not trusting myself,
yeah,
because I'm not being truthful to myself. Then when you say I'm going to do this, and I'm doing it, and you do it, and then you build that confidence. How people tell me, how do you build confidence? By doing the things that you say you're going to do, by doing
yeah,
hard things over and over and over again. That's how you build confidence.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like we talk about affirmations and auto suggestion a lot. But I realize, like, if you don't take action on the things that you're saying, and you don't act like that person, you won't believe it. Like the belief system will go down. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty. So I have like just a couple more questions, but so far I'm enjoying this. I'm learning a lot. How you feeling?
No, I love it. I love it. And you have great questions, so I know this is going to benefit a lot of
Yeah,
people.
I had like a whole list of questions here, but honestly, I just kept going with the flow. I'm just like, I don't even need to answer. I don't even need to ask you any questions. Like you're pretty much just spitting all the knowledge. So yeah.
Yeah,
So can we talk about self image? Because I love self image, and right
yeah.
now I'm learning about that. So let's talk more about that. Well, can you tell us what self image is?
Self-image is the characters. It's how you see yourself. Okay, so if I tell you, Johnny, describe Johnny today, you're going to tell me, I am an entrepreneur. I am, somebody who now is on time, right? Somebody who is, like how you see yourself, all the characteristics of you, right? So when I teach self-image and when we work on our self-image is like, creating the self-image and the characteristics of the version of you who's at the end of your goal, you know and a lot of people, the biggest mistake that people make is that they put themselves with, or they mix self-image with goals. They mix self-image with their vision. They mix self-image with things that they want to get. I'm living in this house, or I'm traveling a lot, or I am, you know having a lot of money, or all of that. But that's not self-image, those are goals. So
Hmm.
what self-image is who you are at the end of your goal. Who's the characteristics of that version of you at the end of your goal? How do you talk? How do you walk? How do you see yourself? You see yourself as a like, powerful man or powerful women, as somebody who's inspiring, somebody who's impacting other people's life. And who is that version? Like, how much more confident, how much more powerful, it's characteristics of you at the end of your goal. But like, if I tell you describe your mom, you're going to tell me the characteristics of your mom. It's how you see her, right? But if I tell you describe you in the future, a lot of people have trouble because they don't know how that future self will look like, how
Hmm.
they how is everything. So you got to find people who are where you want to be and try to mimic them, try to find what are the characteristics of that version or of that person, so you can copy, or you can mimic them, and you can become somebody, but being still the authentic you, right? Like, keep your authenticity, keep the essence of you there, but better.
Yeah.
So so that self-image, it's how you see yourself. Right now we all have our own self-image, how we see ourselves, right? Like, I
Yeah.
see myself as I'm Latina, I love music, I'm a professional in what I do, I'm a mother. I see myself as that. I'm confident, I love me, I love my body, I love working out, I love, like, that's how I see myself.
Hmm.
I walk with confidence, I walk with determination, that's how I see myself.
Yeah.
But like, if I want to create a different self-image, is like, oh my god, now I'm going into the unknown. Like, now who is that version of me at the end of my goal, right? Like, I gotta 10x that self-image, I gotta 10x my confidence, I gotta 10x you know what I'm doing. Like, now I'm the CEO of my own business. Like, I gotta see myself like that. I'm like an absolute great leader. Like, I gotta see myself like that, right?
Hmm.
Maybe I don't see myself like that now because I haven't been doing it constantly on
Hmm.
leadership. But if I'm going to have my own business, I got to see myself as a great leader, right? So I
Yeah.
got to start embodying that version of me. So there is a book about acting. The Stella, Stella, I can't remember her name, but it's The Power of Acting. I think it's the name of the book, that she talks about, like, how you can um, improve your abilities to pretend and improve how you are, and that helps with self-image.
Stella.
Hmm.
Okay, I see. The power of the actor or power of acting.
Um, I can find it for you if you don't mind. I have it on on
Yeah.
my. You want me to?
No, no, it's up to you. I'm just looking it up so people should know. People can know. Is it the
Let me
power
bring
of
it.
the actor?
Let me
Okay,
bring it.
go ahead. So far, how are you guys feeling? Go ahead, comment down in the chat box. Do you guys love this lecture? I'm loving this lecture. I'm learning a lot. Kati's just giving gems and nuggets. Found it?
Yeah, it's called The Art of Acting.
The art
Okay.
of acting. Oh, okay, okay.
By Stella Adler.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. So you know what? I was going to I was gonna ask you some questions
Hmm.
over the phone, but I might as well just ask it here. You
Okay.
know. So in terms of like self image and when someone's going through the process, like I know visualizing is a big part of it. You know, just kind of creating that fantasy. What do you feel like are some things to help build on that vision?
Of you, when you talk about self-image of you,
Yeah.
um, depending on what your self-image is on, right? So, for example, if you want to visualize yourself, like, leading this podcast and having a lot of listeners and ton of listeners, and like see yourself like speaking, talking to people, and like the smiles and like people that you don't even know, that are like listening to it, like, but you see yourself like getting to the audience that you want to get and creating the impact that you want to create. But see, like, I visualize myself as speaking, because that's part of what I do, and I would like to do more of speaking, but not just online, because I've done a lot of online. I want to do in person.
Person, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And but I see myself as speaking on stage, and I see faces, smiling faces, faces that say like that have their aha moment, like faces that are happy, that are valuing what I'm doing. That's how I'm visualizing. Like that's part of me visualizing that. When I want to visualize, you know, um, with my family, like having the family together, like, like of course I want to have more kids. Like I see myself like with my other kids, I see myself like happy living with all the things that I want to live, and having the family that, at some point for me, family is part of my philosophy, is the first thing that comes into my life before anything. And I feel like for me that's a huge thing. um when I became a single mom, I felt like that dream was gone, and it was taken away from me. And for me it's just like now I it's something that I'm building it. Like I'm not married yet, but it's something that I visualize myself like that, like with like with married with my other child, like feeling what I'm gonna feel when I meet her. You already know that I already gave her like a gender.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, yeah.
so,
That,
so like I have the clear vision of how that is, let's say, on my personal life, right? Now, one thing that it's very important for people, like they want to track the right partners or the right people, or like the right, uh partner.
yes,
Never
yes,
put a
yes.
face if you don't have somebody that it's with you already, right? Like I've been on a relationship for 3 years now, so like, I see myself with this man. But if I wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't put a face in it, because don't want to force
Someone.
anybody energetically to be with you, right? And that's another topic. I think I'm just going way into another topic, but yeah, see yourself doing what you want to do, like, on stage, teaching, helping, seeing people smiling, people telling you, look, Johnny, you helped me, I achieved my goal. Like how amazing that is, how you are going to feel, like those kind of things. Make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. So this is that's a really good point. And what one of the other things too is like when you're acting like it, you're acting like the self image. What do you say to people that say like, oh, that's delusional, like you're being really delusional? Because
Well, mhm.
sorry, I'm a, like a big believer of like, like yeah, you gotta really, honestly fake it. Like you gotta really fake it until you make it. So I don't know. What do you think on that?
Fake it until you make it. I was listening yesterday to Brian Proctor, which is Bob's Proctor's son, and he was saying, I don't like that because it sounds, doesn't look like, doesn't uh sound good, but I like a better act as if. Act as if the person, as if you're the person that it's writing your goal,
Yeah.
right? Acting as if you're there. So I like that better. But um, for a lot of time, for the longest time, Johnny, when I started my own journey, and even at that time, I was looking to see houses on the neighborhood where I live. That in Toronto, real estate is crazy, but at that point, it was like $4 million houses. Like we were looking at houses there, and like people around me were telling me, what are you doing? Is that a cult? Like, what are you doing? Like, are
Yeah.
you crazy? Are you out of your mind? And for a little bit, not a lot, but for a little bit, that threw me off. But then I said, are they what I want to be? Are those people that I should be listened to? Maybe not. So then I started to being smart to who I was going to share what I was doing, or pretending what I was doing. So I just did it with people, or around people that either, you know,
Understood.
didn't know me, or didn't understand me, or didn't know where is that I want to go, or what I was working on, or if they were not in personal development.
Right.
And like I kind of changed my associations a lot. Like I started hanging out with people that were more into it, that will fuel that desire than actually make me feel small about it. So,
Yeah.
and one thing that I've learned from me is like I gotta own it. Like I gotta own it. I want to be this badass woman and excellent leader and absolute best coach in the world. I gotta own it. So
Mm.
I learn not to care much what people think about me. I
Mhm.
learn to care what I think about me. And I'm coming from my desire, and there is nothing wrong about it. If people are going to judge me, great. You're going to have a lot of haters along the way. So it's fine. It's good. There are people that actually are paying attention to what you're doing. So it's good.
Yeah.
Uh, but I I've learned, it's not that I was perfect from the very beginning, but I've learned how not to pay attention to things or people that were not like I respect everyone. You and we may not have the best opinion or the same opinion in something. I respect you. I respect your opinion, but that doesn't mean I share it. So
Mm.
just leave you with that. But I respect me, and I respect my opinion, and I don't care really like what you think. It's your opinion, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's a great note to really end it off. Like I would say though, for someone listening to this right now, what are some practical steps, some actionable things that they can do right now to get them from where they're at to their goal?
Well, first of all, they have to have a goal. Like number one is that they need to have a goal and have that crystal clear vision of that goal looks like and where is that they want to go. Because if the goal is vague, if they tell me the goal is um more money, or stay fit, or this and that, that's not a real goal. That's so vague. That doesn't give me a target. Right. So they
Mm.
gotta have a crystal clear vision of what is that they want to have, an exact goal, the star that you're shooting for. So once they have that goal, I think it's working on their processes, like working on their daily goal. Like once you have a big goal, work on the daily goal. What are the things that you got to do daily that will help you to reach your goal? Like let's say for you, you need to build, your brand, and your podcast and your coaching. So how you can reach to more people, and what are the tools that you got to do to build that, let's say in a month or 2 months from now. So they every day put some activities towards goal oriented activities, but every day, not because you did it yesterday you're not going to do it today. No, that doesn't work. So every day have a daily goal, because the daily goal is going to meet the weekly goal, and the weekly goal is going to meet the monthly goal, and then that's how you're going to reach your goal.
Mm.
But if you do it one day and you don't do it thing, and some days you do one thing, and some days you do another thing. That doesn't work. That's inconsistent.
Mm,
So have a vision where you want to go, have a daily goal, and of course, work on your self image, right? Like, who is that person at the end of your goal? And when I say rituals and processes daily, it talks a little bit about self image. Who is that version of you who's at the end of your goal, who's working? But more than anything, is like find a coach, find somebody who, instead of you second guessing this, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I, what am I supposed to do? It's better to have somebody to tell you this is exactly what you have to do. You need help, I'll help you. But here are the tools and I'll help you, right? So then that's different, rather than you, like, second guessing and thinking, should I do this, should I do that, like, what do I need to do? Then you're not going to come from certainty, you're going to come from, like, second guessing yourself, and then you're going to do mediocre job.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Kati. You honestly killed it. I really learned a lot. I really hope a lot of you guys take a lot of this stuff and actually apply it too.
Yeah.
So, what's your social media, Instagram or Facebook? Do you want to share anything so people
I
can follow
think
you?
I think yeah. My Instagram is Kati Galindo. Let me see, because I don't even know.
Yeah.
Kati Galindo dot s. You can find me on Instagram at Kati dot no Kati Galindo dot s. That's my Instagram, and I'm gonna be active there. So, like,
Yeah,
everyone,
for sure. I can't wait for that. I know you're working on a couple projects here. For
yeah.
me, like if you guys should know by now, she's like one of the top mindset coaches. So
Thank
definitely
you,
follow her. Yeah.
thank
So
you, John.
thank you. Of course. Alrighty.
Thank you. Bye bye.